Hello and welcome to a new video. My name is Mecca. This is Mecca's Garden and Healing Journey. In my journey, I share about how I heal from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia and pain, all thanks to God and life-giving foods. Now, life-giving foods made a huge difference because my diet previously was not able to sustain healing. I want to share this because a lot of people are confused or not sure about where to start from, and it could be really complicated if you want to look at it that way. What should I eliminate? What should I add to my diet? Why is this no longer good for me? Or why am I now allergic to something that I have always eaten? Knowledge is power. Bible says to us that my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. If you do not have the knowledge on what you need to do, you will not be empowered to do so, and you will fall back into the wrong habits. All these food groups I have here, I have outlined the essential foods are high in micronutrients, the things that should be staple in our diet, and the things that we should stop and actually avoid eating. So hopefully this video will educate us and help us know the things we can start taking out and the things we should start adding into our diet. For me, the first thing and the first place to start is adding vegetables to your diet. Vegetables, for me, are the bedrock of any sort of healing thing, and we need to incorporate more vegetables into our diet. They are one of the highest sources of fiber. Obviously, we have that in our grains and our pulses, but vegetables are high in micronutrients, enzymes that can actually help your gut recover. Now, healing begins in the gut. Your gut is actually the home to a large number of your immune cells, and your immune system starts from what you actually digest and assimilate. So if your gut is unhealthy, it will take a while for healing to happen. So I find people saying, for the last 1 month I've been making smoothies and juices like you say, and I haven't seen a difference. Guys, I want us to remember, how long has it taken for you to get to where you are? Your body didn't get damaged from just eating the wrong things 1 day, 2 days, 1 year. It's been years and years of abuse. So you need to be patient. So you need to know that eating this way should actually be a lifestyle. So we're starting with the different colors. As you can see, I don't actually have some yellows here, but we have the purple, we have the white, we have the green. These are really easy to incorporate into your daily diet. I have videos on how you can make salads and store for up to 5 days in jars. They're really easier to incorporate, and you can actually steam them, but some of them are best eaten in its raw form, because that way your body is taking all the nutrients. Nothing have been processed or damaged through cooking. Now, these over here, for me, are the most important ones. To be honest, you could actually avoid this, but you need green leafy vegetables. Why? Chlorophyll. It's closer to nature, to your blood. It replenishes our blood cells so easily. But today, unfortunately, a lot of people are allergic to greens. They'll tell you, if I eat greens, I gas, I have bloating, I have problems with digestion and diarrhea, and that is because your gut is not well. So you can heal it, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start gradually, because it's full of so much fiber. For instance, eating this much spinach is nothing. Once you cook it down, it shrinks. And once it shrinks, you have little to nothing in fiber. So we want to eat a good amount. This amount, on average, you could actually consume in a day or two, if you have it in a smoothie, or if you have it steamed, or add it to your salads. Now, I do understand life can be really busy, and we're not able to always add this every single day. So buy them, portion them, freeze them, and then bring them out and use in smoothies when you need them. That way you don't struggle to process these things every day. When you're going for your vegetables, it's important to know something called the dirty dozen. The dirty dozen are essentially vegetables that have heavy pesticide load after they've been harvested. And this has come about as a result of tests that have shown the pesticide residue on vegetables. For instance, let's say your green peppers. They don't have an outer skin. So when they grow peppers, because I grow vegetables, I know the amount of work that is involved in ensuring that you get a clean pepper at the end of the day, because they get attacked by lots and lots of pests and diseases. So you have to spray them. Using things natural, for me, like neem oil occasionally helps protect my plants. And obviously healthy soil does that. We don't want to go into that for now. This video is about how you make the choices, how you choose the healthier ones. Because if I'm having this is full of pesticides and I think I've actually eaten something healthy, guys, guess what? You've actually added more pesticides to your body, and that's actually more toxic burden on your liver, and you don't want that. So try as much as possible to choose things that are not in the dirty dozen, that have not been sprayed with pesticides. So things like cucumbers, peppers are in the dirty dozen. Now, I'm not going to go into the dirty dozen list off the top of my head, but you can look that up. Things like cabbage are actually thankfully not in the dirty dozen. Things like spinach are in the dirty dozen. They get heavily sprayed because a lot of pests love eating the greens, so they are in the dirty dozen. So if you can afford to, go for organic. If you can't afford organic, buy what you can afford. Use sodium bicarb or apple cider vinegar or just vinegar to give it a soak and wash. These things have been shown to reduce and get rid of as much pesticides as up to nearly 90% in some cases. So that way you're ridding yourself of the pesticide load and still having the high nutrient foods. However, things that are not organically grown have been shown to have less nutritional profile than organically grown foods. So it's a balance. What can I afford? What can't I afford, and what is best for my family? I don't want us to look at eating healthy as something that is a chore and something that is a stress, stressor. We want to actually enjoy this journey. Now over to our fruits. We do know we need to eat, like there's the guideline saying 5 a day, so 5 portions. Let's say we have one of these, maybe a banana, a slice of that, or this, or avocado a day. But you actually need to do more than 5 a day. Research has shown that that is not giving us up to 30 grams of fiber, and we need to incorporate more fruits into our diet. Making this available, especially if you have children at fussy, give them a variety, like high vitamin C fruits like the kiwi, the citrus, and then even mangoes, high good fats like avocados, bananas high in potassium, pineapples, papayas. Those things are actually, pineapples and papayas are one of my favorite ones to talk about because they're high in digestive enzymes. They help your body digest the animal protein that we all know people love eating today. Now we've talked about the fruits and the vegetables. If you have any questions, guys, pop it in the comment section. I'm more than happy to answer. This is obviously not the whole selection of fruits and vegetables you have access to, but this is just a selection, and this is what I have today to show you. Now going to the main sources of our nutrition. So this is actually source of micronutrients. This is macro. This is like the things that keep you full and satisfied for longer. We all have this people talking about high protein. Guys, protein is not the main thing we should focus on. We need to focus on whole grains, seeds, and fiber, and also tubers. If you ever heard of the blue zones, so the blue zones is a term that has been given to places that have the highest number of centenarians, people living up to their hundreds. So they researched this over years, and they found that the staple in their diet were things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, corn, pumpkins, and also lentils or beans or pulses. Now I do know that some people are worried about the lectins in beans and lentils. These things can be avoided by how we process them. So how do I process them? For instance, when I cook beans, which is a staple in my home because this is a Nigerian delicacy, I soak it overnight. Pre-soaking it helps it break down the protective covering, and then I cook it in a pressure pot, and I also use seaweed. This is easy to do. Anyone can do this. I also cook it in bulk, so I don't have the stress of cooking this every time we need it. I cook a portion that could last us a couple of weeks. Once in 2 weeks is not too much. However, if your life is really, really busy and you can't even afford to do that, guys, you can go for the canned ones. Now these obviously are partly processed, but they're better than nothing. We know that the cans though have BPA and other chemicals that our bodies do not like, so we'll try to avoid them, but in a pinch I would recommend, rather than not eating it, get something like this and keep it handy. And once again, I'll recommend organic because you have less incidence of added chemicals that your body would see as foreign, and this will start causing other issues. Now, why would we talk about organic foods? It's not just about reducing the pesticide burdens, it's how our body assimilates them. And also research is showing that pesticides like glyphosate that is heavily used in wheat and oats has been responsible for lots and lots of cancers. And not just that, other things that are used in growing them and preventing, the weeds from growing. Do you know they have to spray the ground for weeds? So weed killers are sprayed whilst we also spray pesticides. Too many chemicals getting into your system. Guys, if you see the amount of chemicals poured into conventional products, you will rethink your buying of non-organic food. So let's go back to the grains. Now, oats. I know lots of people will not recognize this as oats. This is how oats are meant to be consumed. These are still cut oats. If you look closely, the grains have just been cut up. They're not like the flat rolled oats that we are familiar with. And this is because this helps your body digest this thing slower. So it prevents the insulin spikes, and also it keeps you fuller for longer because it's in its whole unprocessed form. So when you hear people talking about processed foods, it's because these foods have changed from their original state and they have processed it all the way to things like this that are in their non-original form. The problem with that is the journey this food takes from being non-processed to heavily processed has stripped it of a lot of its nutritional profile, and that is where our body is now lacking in all this nutrients. So I'm going to go into all of those soon, but let me just continue here. Now, things like lentils, I learned that, just doing the ordinary, like eating the basic red lentils, actually has been stripped of some of its fiber. And what's the best form? These things are dark colored, like black rice, black lentils. This is black rice for those that don't know. These things are high in anthocyanins, which are really high. I want to call them antioxidants on steroids. Essentially, they have the highest levels of antioxidants, which are disease fighting properties or inflammation reducing properties. So I would recommend, if you want to go for your seeds, try and, even if it's not all the time, incorporate things with darker color or redder colors. Those things are better. So don't always go for the white rice, which is more delicious. We do know that, but it is highly processed. It's been stripped of a lot of its nutritional properties, and it's not as good for your gut as the ones that have not been highly processed. Now, this is the common one in West Africa and actually in Spain. This is actually from Spain. Tiger nuts. Why do I have a large jar of tiger nuts, you might ask? We make plant milk in my home. Tiger nuts are one of the nutrient-dense foods you can actually get. They are high in what we call resistant starch. Now, resistant starch is essentially starch that is not digested in the gut. So it doesn't spike your blood sugars, but it feeds the good bacteria. That is amazing. Not many foods boast of that, but tiger nuts do. And the milk from tiger nuts, which I make, I have a video on it. I'll probably put a link down there. It's really, really delicious, and my children love it, thankfully. So they have this instead of cow's milk, and which is better for their gut. I don't want to talk much about animal products. I'm just going on to plants today. So let's talk about this. If you have any questions though about animal products, leave a comment and I'll try and make a separate video about it. Another thing we need to look at is our seeds. So nuts and seeds. We do know lots of people today are allergic to nuts. So we're going to focus more on seeds. Now, these are flax seeds, linseeds, whatever you want to call them. You have two varieties. You have the golden and you have the bronze ones. Now, these are nutrient powerhouses. They are high in lignan, which are protective for female hormones, and also they are high in omega-3 fats. Not many plants give you good quality omega-3 fats as flax seeds, and also they pack a punch of fiber, and most importantly, protein. So it's like one superfood you need to add. I use it daily in my smoothies. So my smoothies, I will also link a video on the sort of smoothies I make. I don't want to go into detail about them, but linseeds are really essential to add into your diet daily. Okay. The other seeds I would recommend are things like pumpkin seeds. We also have egusi in Nigeria, which are really similar in nutrient profile. Pumpkin seeds are really good. You don't need a lot of it because it's also high in fat, but a little bit goes a long way to improve your gut health and also your nutrient and good for your heart. Cashews is I'll call this one a controversial one because it's got almonds there. Some people say no, some people say yes, but I add cashews to my diet. I use it to make also plant milk. Now and again, another seed I add would be almonds. Now, things like almonds can be high in, you've got oxalic acids. Now, oxalic acids can be bothersome to some people. So if you are sensitive to things like oxalates, I would say avoid almonds, but they're also nutrients. There's so many other seeds and nuts. I'm just giving you a little brief overview of what you should incorporate. Now, the starches. We need starches. Now, these are not your enemy, guys. Your enemy is actually the animal protein. We're eating way too much animal protein. I am constantly bombarded with people saying, we need protein. Where is the protein in your food? And then as a result, we're eating so much animal protein. Guys, I have news for you. Let's go back to the original way people had to eat. People were not able to afford runs of chicken in their back garden or runs of cows. They didn't just eat these things every day because it wasn't readily available. Let's face it. My ancestors, even growing up as a child, I didn't eat that. These were the staple things we ate. We ate yams, we ate plantains, we ate beans. And then we had vegetables and fruits in abundance. Like fruits was without limit. I think we've deviated from it so much that we're looking at things that are not real food as though they are. If you really want to improve your health and that of your family this year, I want us to go back to eating real foods in the most natural form and state. There comes things like this. Now, yes, plantains, yams, they're high in carbs. They can spike your blood sugar for people that are diabetic. And that is where your vegetables come in. So it's not the animal protein, it's your vegetables. They help, like they are buffer. They help the insulin spikes or the sugar spikes, and they help your body digest these things slower. These are natural foods that your body would appreciate better than going to eat something processed or packed in a package. Incorporate things like sweet potatoes, yams, plantains. These are actually staples in my home, and I think it will do your health a lot of good by incorporating them. Now, how you process these things or how you also cook them really matters. So we're moving to our oils, because a lot of times we want to enjoy this, but we want to drench them in oils. Now, oils are not things that you need in a large portion. Oils are things we should take in very small amounts. Some oils, like obviously in the Mediterranean diet, things like olive oil in its raw form. Now, this is nothing, I'm not selling a brand. This is something I use, but I recommend if you're getting olive oil, if you can, get something that is early harvested, because this has the highest antioxidant levels. And go for something that you can trace. This has a traceability code that you can use to find out exactly where it was sourced from. Sorry, beg your pardon. And if it actually is sourced from where they claim it was from. Obviously, if you can't do that, then I would say don't even bother with it. Just eat things that are more readily accessible to you, locally accessible. We don't need to import things to make our health better. You have all you need locally available. Just go into the market and buy things. So drenching or frying your foods is not really recommended. Obviously, I do fry foods very rarely, and when I do, I try to aim for things that are non-seed oil. If I do have to, or I can't afford things like avocado oil, for instance, or coconut oil, I will go for things like organic or cold press. Now, oils like sunflower oils are meant to be really good. When I mean good, obviously not pouring it down, drinking it, but they are good or better oils or healthy fats. But how are they extracted? Are they mechanically processed? So I'll give you an instance. This is pumpkin seed oil. This one tells us it's cold pressed. Cold press means no heat has been applied to the extraction process and no chemicals have been applied. If it has not stated clearly that something is cold pressed or mechanically pressed, it means they have used things like hexane or some other chemicals to extract the oil from the seeds, and that is not good for our health. We need to really reduce our oil consumption. If you can, set a rota. So when I started this journey, I used to set a rota. We've had fried food once in a fortnight, or something like akara, that is our staple in Nigeria. We ate it like once a month or thereabouts. So it was looked upon, we looked forward to it, and we didn't have it every day, because the more you consume oily foods, the more you burden your liver and the more you add, inflammation to your body. So processing these things is best steamed or roasted, and then you have other things like sauces you can eat them with, but not fried. Now over to salt. This is not I am not recommending any brand here whatsoever. These are just things I can easily afford at this time and that are readily available, and that's why I'm sharing them. Salt, I like going for mineral salt, which is in the form of Himalayan salt, because it just has a bit more mineral content. I try not to go for things like this, you know, the common table salt, because guys, I borrowed some of these things, okay, so I wouldn't just buy them as props. It's a waste of money that way. I try not to go for table salts because they haven't got nutritional profile. They're mostly made in labs, and also they're not good for our blood pressure. Mineral salts, on the other hand, have less sodium content, better for your blood pressure, and ultimately better for your health. And we go over to food flavoring enhancers. So how do we cook our foods? Someone once said that things like MSG, or the typical Maggi, not the brand, is something that has been imbibed in our culture, and I once upon a time thought it was so, but thankfully I have a grandmother that never cooked with any sort of artificial seasoning whatsoever, and her food was delicious. If you have someone like that, leave me a comment, because I will never forget my grandmother, bless her memory. She always cooked food in its natural form and it was delicious. But we have gone so far that cooking without MSG now seems to be so difficult and complicated. But I've got good news for you. You can cook without MSG. I've been doing this now for over 3 years, and I am grateful to say, yes, not every single time my food comes 100%, because it's not with MSG, so it wouldn't taste like MSG. But I think I am doing a good job at seasoning my food with herbs and spices, and a lot of people are doing it too. You start somewhere. You don't expect it to taste the same, because it's not the same. MSG is highly addictive. Now, MSG is the ingredient they use to make what they call seasoning cubes. They're not seasonings, they are chemicals that are neurotoxins. What are neurotoxins? They are toxic to your brains. They can cross the blood-brain barrier, and they can cause long-term health problems in the future. So I would encourage you as much as possible to minimize or completely take it out of your diet. I love using herbs. There's so many herbs. I have a video on how you make your own natural seasoning for stews, and you can actually experiment and try things and eventually wean yourself of it. If you're struggling, like when I first started weaning myself, I went for things like were organic, they were gluten, lactose free, and they were MSG free, most importantly. So it always said no added MSG. So not just this brand, if you can find it, but I don't want you to stick to this. I only keep this for people that come to my home and want to cook and can't stand without MSG, and it's only rarely. So this has been in my house for a while now, and it has not been used because we don't use it. You need to learn how to make things like broths from bones and meats, and good quality, obviously grass-fed, organic, and that way you can season and enhance the flavor of your food without artificial flavoring that are detrimental to your health. Remember, MSG is a neurotoxin. Forget the people saying it is not. Guys, if it's natural, why is food not tasting the same without it? It is not in any way natural. It's a chemical, and we need to reduce and eliminate it from our diet to stay healthy. Next to the things that I would really say, actually I wouldn't buy with my money, but I have 1 or 2 things I will share with you. So now, pasta has become a staple in many households today. Obviously I'm not Gen Z, so I didn't grow up eating pasta like at all. I can count the number of times I ate pasta as a child. And this is not because it's detrimental, because the Italians have been eating it for centuries and they've been fine. But what sort of pasta have they been eating? Go and look at the blue zones. They ate pasta, but they ate it in its most least processed form. Obviously made into flour, but less processed and also organically grown. And that makes a difference. One of the major problems with pasta and wheat products is glyphosate. I talked to you about glyphosate, which was a weed killer. It's been shown and is directly linked to the cause of cancers. Now, why are we not worried? Why is the world not saying, okay, stop glyphosate because it's killing people? Guys, this is a money-making venture, and people will lose their jobs and livelihoods if they stop selling it. So it's up to you to know and make the right choices. At the end of the day, you decide what you want to put in your body, what you want to feed your children, and ultimately what you want your body to look like. You are what you eat. once again. So I would go for organic. Now, no brand marketing. This is where I could buy the cheapest organic, and whole wheat. So it has not been processed in a way that it has been stripped of its nutrients. This is also spaghetti. This is also spaghetti that has been processed, not organic, and this one is organic and is whole wheat. This tastes better, but this one definitely is better for you and your gut. So making the right choices is up to you. But for me, in my home, this is what we'll eat. Never this. I will never spend a dime buying this. Guys, my cameraman is making faces because she's the owner of this. I'm gonna put this in the video. Now, another thing, a lot of families are guilty of. I was once guilty of it. I weaned my babies onto this beautiful, delicious food in front of me. And it was easy, convenient, and very tasty. Yes, but how unhealthy is this? The body sees this thing like glue and sugar. Essentially, that's just how your body recognizes it. So it can cause a lot of gut problems. It can dysregulate your DNA. It can change the form of your cells over time, and it's highly addictive. I would encourage you to stop. If you can't stop it, wean yourself of it, but ultimately stop it. I stopped buying this for my children. I believe it was 2016, and guys, my kids still ask for it. I actually borrowed this 4 years ago to make a video, so you can see how old it is, but you can see how addictive it is. The children still like, "Mommy, can you buy this?" And I think once in a while they've gone to some aunties that have made this, and I'm warning them, stop giving my children junk. My children are not dustbins. Because guys, let's be honest. Actually, will you put bad petrol in your car? No. Why would you now give your children or yourselves, that your most precious assets, things that are unhealthy? Some people say something's gonna kill a man. Yeah, but do you want to die in sickness and disease? No, we have to protect this body. It's God's temple. We have to look after it. So MSG, no. Let's move over to sugar. This is a difficult one for some people. Some people struggle with doing without sugar. If you have to, go for things that are least processed. So either dates, sweeteners in form of dates. So I'm making my plant milk. I use, and not a lot of it. You wean yourself off sugar the way you wean yourself off salt and things like MSG. It's easy, you can do it. And then I would say things like coconut sugar is one of the favorites, because in as much as it is still sugar and sweet, it is not as highly processed and it will not spike your blood sugars. To be honest, we don't use sugars like that to eat in anything. We use them like when I make things like homemade waffles, I use this sugar. And so that way I know my children are not having high fructose corn syrup and other high sugar things, because sugar is one big problem today. Okay, so brown sugar, not just brown sugar, because brown sugar is just adding some molasses to white sugar. No, coconut sugar, and ultimately organic. I also want to recommend things like mushrooms, dried mushrooms, fresh mushrooms. They help with the chew, because for us, we like to chew something. We want to eat some protein in quotes, but we addicted to chewing with our food, like with your swallow. You want to have one swallow and chew something, isn't it? It's really nice. This is where mushrooms come in. They help you mitigate that natural tendency, especially if you've grown up eating your animal protein with every meal. This is some fava, split peas. These are also really good high protein, plant protein. So these things, some of them are really high in plant protein, so you don't need to worry. And protein deficiency, guys, should I bust your bubble? It doesn't exist unless in really extreme places. So you see people always saying, you need protein, we are damaging our liver and kidneys with too much protein in the form of animal protein. You're not deficient of protein. Go and check. I haven't eaten cow's meat or beef or goat's meat, yes, or even chicken. Yes, I eat a bit of fish in over 3 years, and I'm even still a bit fat. I could lose more weight. I am not protein deficient. You will not be protein deficient by cutting down on your animal protein. So don't feel like you're depriving your children when you don't give them animal protein as much as you think they need. They don't need that much, okay? Let's try and round this up as quickly as I can. Now, these things like breadsticks, for occasions, parties, I'll buy them, but Once again, they're not really that healthy, but they're better than sugar snacks or high salt snacks. So once in a while, I give this to the kids, just once in a while. We try not to actually eat processed snacks. Our snacks are only foods and fruits or waffles that I make. So I want to tell you, you can do without snacks. Now, custard is one food that has pretty much nothing to offer. I bought this for the kids because it was a birthday and they were like, oh mommy, come on. The ingredients in custard, it has flavoring in form of color. What is the flavoring? Coloring. Like, why would they add the color? And those colorings have been shown to be disruptive. They cause things like ADHD. Why would we be feeding our kids things like that? You can make your normal African pap, which is even better because it's fermented corn starch. However, it's better to have things in their whole form and not fermented forms. So things like processed yogurt, I generally won't do this. People feel, yeah, give them cow's milk yogurt, strong, good for their bones. It's full of sugar. It's full of sugar. If you have cow's yogurt on its own, it's really sour, it's not tasty, and this is full of sugar. And some people actually could do without having this, okay? So I would never really buy. So these are things I should and will never buy into my home. Things like packed juices, no. If I want to have my juice, I make my own. This is carrot juice, and I try not to make fruit juices because fruit juices will spike your blood sugar. I might as well have some sugar if you want to have fruit juices. So no. Now the other one they lie to you about and tell you it is zero sugar. If you have diabetes, drink zero sugar. Guys, this is high in aspartame. Aspartame is also another neurotoxin that can disrupt a lot of your psychological health. I would recommend you avoid anything. In fact, I would rather you even take the one with full sugar. I know you're drinking sugar and take zero sugar. To be honest, it might be better, but actually, we don't need to take fizzy drinks. In general, any sort of fizzy drinks, we should completely bin them. I'm gonna bin this. No fizzy drinks. I don't buy it. Unfortunately, people give them to someone that brings them to this house. We don't drink them. We don't make it a habit, and I would encourage you, it's one of the easiest things you can actually take out of your diet. You can just do that. You don't bring it into your home, you don't eat it. Life is good. You can tell how passionate I am against fizzy drinks. Same with this one. I see children drinking this thing and they tell them it's good, it's high, and the lie they've told you is that it's high in vitamin B3, thiamine, B2, what rubbish. This is junk. This is junk. Sugar, junk. Don't feed your child, don't feed yourselves. You don't need this in your bodies, guys. So make juices. If you really feel you need to drink juices, make your own fruit juices and really reduce the consumption of things like this. They are no good. They disrupt your immune system big time and cause DNA dysregulation once again. Coffee, caffeine. I know I'm gonna touch a nerve here. There are people that are addicted to this. I have someone in my home, someone I love in my home, addicted to it. And this is one battle I stopped fighting. Obviously, if he were my child, he won't have it. So I would say go for things that are organic, reduce how often you take them. There are good quality coffees, but coffee is a stimulant. It actually, people are addicted to it. You feel, oh, if I haven't taken my coffee, I'm not awake. It's because you're addicted to it. You're feeding the addiction, nothing else. But that's one thing I wouldn't buy with my money for myself or my home. Okay. Processed nut butters. Now, peanut butters are actually not bad if you haven't got peanut allergies, but try and ensure the ingredients. Like this one is not one of the best, but we do buy them occasionally because sometimes the children want it with their waffles. It keeps them fuller, and I know it's not got too many ingredients. It's mainly got peanuts, 91%. So the other ingredients, it does have sugar and palm oil and salt. You can make this yourself. I am not able to always make this myself because I want to get organic, and this isn't organic, but I'd rather get organic peanuts, and ultimately they have this not every day, occasionally. So guys, I hope this video has added some value to you. I hope you've learned something and you've been able to see that you can make a lot of change. You can actually incorporate these things easily. You can take some things out. I know not as easy, but ultimately you have the power to change your health. You have the power to improve your quality of health. And sometimes you'll be like, I'm not sick, I'm fine. Why are you bothering? Guys, there is a pandemic of health diseases coming up. If you haven't seen it yet, more children are suffering with cancers. More young women are having reproductive changes at a younger age than they ever did. You know, reproductive issues. We don't always have to pray to God we should pray. For me as a believer, that is my life. But there are things we can prevent, we can avoid. Look at the book of Daniel. The Bible says Daniel did not eat the king's meal. And they said when they looked at them later, they were younger, they were stronger than those people that ate the king's portion. It wasn't a spiritual thing, it was all simply physical. They ate healthy food. So guys, I hope this video has been able to sort of highlight to you, show you how you can transition to make your lifestyle healthier and improve the quality of your health. Be patient with yourself as well. Sometimes you might make the wrong choices. Sometimes you might buy a chocolate here and, you know, don't beat yourself up. Just move on. my cameraman is laughing and happy. Yeah, that is normal. And there are good quality chocolates there, because sometimes your cravings might get the better of you. Sometimes what I do, if I have a craving, I just honor it. I try to honor it in the healthiest way as possible. Obviously not with something like fizzy drink, no. I honor it in the healthiest way and I move on. I don't sit there. I don't say, okay, so today, this week is going to be sugar or it's going to be only rice. No, I stick to as much as I can, improving my health. And this has really helped me. Guys, I used to be exhausted every single day. Just walking up the stairs was exhausting. I lived a life that way. As a young mother, it was frustrating. I didn't know what to do. I prayed and I prayed and I cried and I asked God to show me what to do. And God led me to food as medicine. And I have been able to change that story from being fatigued and in pain all the time to someone that is always energetic. So you can do it too. If you are struggling, trust God, trust Him to guide you, and also make these healthy choices. Be very intentional. Remove processed animal protein. Now, animal protein, I'll talk about that in a later video, because the animals that are grown today are fed with hormones. They're fed with growth hormones, antibiotics, and if you want to be taking those things on a daily, then it's up to you. Those things do not disappear in the pot. They get into your system. You eat them. You see little boys with boobs. You see little girls developing faster than they should. It's not just ordinary. It's not, oh, it's this generation. No, it's what you feed the generation. It's not in your hereditary. It's not in your lineage. It's in your kitchen. I hope this video has helped you. And until next time, I hope to see you in another video. Leave me a comment, smash the like button, and if you haven't yet, kindly subscribe to this channel. Until next time, see you in another video. Bye. Mwah.